Good morning, children. Sai Ram, and welcome back once again. Children, in previous video we have started class 9th political science chapter number 4, that is working of institution. So in this video we will continue with this chapter, and this is part 2. Now, so basically in previous video we have already discussed about how is a major policy decisions taken in our country. Okay. Now, in this session we are going to discuss these topic. First, need for political institution, drawbacks of institution, and after that parliament. That means why do we need parliament, and we will also discuss about two houses of parliament. So, our next topic is need for political institution. Okay, so children, we have seen one example of how the government works. Okay, basically, governing a country requires the performance of various tasks. Basically, governing a country involves various tasks, such activities. For example, as you know that the government is responsible for ensuring security to the citizens and providing facilities for education and health to all. Government also responsible to collect taxes and spends the money thus raised on administration, defense and development programs. It also formulates and implements several welfare schemes. Now, some persons have to take decisions on how to go about these decisions or activities, and others have to implement these decisions if disputes arise on these decisions or in their implementations. So, there should be someone to determine what is right and what is wrong. So, to attend to all these tasks, there are several arrangements are made in all modern democracies, and such arrangements are called institution. Clear? Such arrangements are called institution. Okay. Now let's see institution. Why is there a need for political institution, or we can say that need of institution are needed because of the many reasons. First one is a democracy works well when these institutions perform functions assigned to them. As you know that the constitution of any country lays down basic rules on the powers and functions of each institution. So these institutions provide an opportunity for a wider set of people to be consulted in any decision. Clear? So why is there a need for political institution? First, to take decision. Right. So basically, countries need political institutions to take decisions regarding the welfare of the people. So institutions formulate various policies and programs. Right. So for that, the Prime Minister and Cabinet are institutions that take all important policy decisions in our country. Next, implementation. So the decisions which have been taken are to be implemented. So the countries need institutions to implement the decisions. And then for that, civil servants working together, they are responsible for taking steps to implement the minister's decision. Then next we have to solve the disputes. Now, institutions are also needed to solve the disputes between various institutions, right? So, basically, in our country, we have a Supreme Court. Supreme Court is an institution where disputes between citizens and the government are finally settled, right? Then to take right decision, so institutions help the governments to take the right decision. To avoid bad decisions, Now these institutions follow a proper procedure to take decision. Basically, institutions make it difficult to have a good decisions taken very quickly, but they also make it equally difficult to rush through a bad decision. Is it clear? Okay. Now, drawbacks of institution. Basically, children, working with institution is not easy. Why? Institutions involve rules and regulation. Actually, they can bind the hands of leaders. Institutions involve meeting, committees, and routines, and this often leads to delays and complications. Therefore, dealing with institutions can be frustrating. One might feel that it is much better to have one person take all decisions without any rules, procedures, and meetings. But that is not the spirit of democracy, right? Some of the delays and complications introduced by the institutions are very useful. They provide an opportunity for a wider set of people to be consulted in any decision. So, these institutions make it difficult to have a good decisions taken very quickly, but they also make it equally difficult to rush through a bad decision. That is why democratic governments insist on institutions. Okay, now here are the important institutions in India. So, first we have Parliament, the next political executive, the president, and the last judiciary system. Okay, now we are going to discuss all these important institutions of India one by one. So let's start with the first, Parliament. Now just tell me, what is Parliament? Parliament, basically, in all democracies, an assembly of elected representative. Okay, in all democracies, an assembly of elected representatives exercise supreme political authority on behalf of the people. So basically, in India, such a national assembly of elected representatives is called Parliament. Is it clear? Okay. Now, the question is, why do we need Parliament? So, children, in the example of office memorandum, which we discussed in the first video, so in the example of office memorandum, do you remember the role of the Parliament? Perhaps not. Actually, since this decision was not taken by the Parliament, you might think that the Parliament had no role in it. But let us go back to the story and see whether Parliament figures in it. So let us recall some points, right? So first of all, the decision was not directly taken in the Parliament. Remember? But the parliamentaries' discussions on the report influenced and shaped the decision of the government. They brought pressure on the government to act on the Mandal recommendation. And if the parliament was not in favor of this decision, so the government could not have gone ahead with it. Clear? Okay. So the question is, why do we need parliament? So as we already learned, what is parliament? Now, children, at the state level, this is called, like, basically in our country, that is parliament, but at the state level this is called legislature, or we can say that legislative assembly. Okay, basically the name may vary in different countries, but such an assembly exists in every democracy. It exercises political authority on behalf of people in many ways. So first of all, it is the parliament is the final authority for making laws in the country, in any country. Is it clear? Parliament is the final authority for making laws in any country. This task of lawmaking or the legislation is so crucial that these assemblies are called legislature, as I told you. Parliaments all over the world can make Parliaments all over the world can make new laws, they can change existing laws or abolish existing laws and make new ones in their place. Clear? Now, next, parliaments all over the world, as I said, exercise some control over those who run the government. So basically, in some countries like India, this control is direct and full. Those who run the government can take decisions only so long as they enjoy support of the parliament. Parliament basically control money that governments have, and in most countries, any the public money can be spent only when the parliament sanction it. Next, the parliament is the highest forum of the discussion and debate on public issues and national policy in any country. Parliament can seek information about any matter. Clear? Now, as we know that in our country, the parliament consists two houses. Okay, the powers of our parliament are divided among the two houses. First, the lower house. Second, the upper house. So, the lower house called Lok Sabha or the house of people. Clear? Why they were called the house of people? Basically, they are directly elected by the people and they exercises the real power on the behalf of people. That's why Lok Sabha are also called the house of people. Clear? Second, we have the upper house called Rajya Sabha or the Council of States. Clear? So basically this second house is usually elected indirectly and they performs some special functions. Now, Lok Sabha basically is elected directly for 5 years and Rajya Sabha basically is a permanent house and it is elected indirectly by the MLAs. Now the President of India is a part of the parliament although she or he is not a member of either house. That is why all laws made in the houses come into force only after they receive the assent of the president. It's not parliament, it's the president. All laws made in the house come into the force only after they receive the assent of the president. Now, the question is which of the two houses is more powerful? Basically, it might appears that the Rajya Sabha is more powerful. Why? Because Rajya Sabha is the upper house, right? As I said, like it might appears that Rajya Sabha is more powerful. For some time, it is called the upper house, and Lok Sabha basically the lower house. But this does not mean that Rajya Sabha is more powerful than Lok Sabha. And this is just an odd style of speaking and not the language used in our constitution. So let's understand. Basically, our constitution does give the Rajya Sabha some special powers over the states, but on most matters, the Lok Sabha exercise supreme power. Now let us see how. First, an ordinary bill or we can say that law. Any ordinary law needs to be passed by both the houses. Clear? Here we talk about the ordinary bill. So any ordinary law and bills need to be passed by both the houses. But if there is a difference between the two houses, that means Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, so the final decision is taken in a joint session in which members of both the houses sit together. Because of the larger number of members, the view of Lok Sabha is likely to prevail in such a meeting. Clear? So any ordinary bill or law needs to be passed by both the houses. But if there is a difference between the decisions between both the houses, so the final decision is taken in a joint session. Next. So as I said, Lok Sabha exercises more powers in money matters. Once the Lok Sabha passes the budget of the government or any other money related law, Rajya Sabha can only delay it by 14 days or they can suggest changes in it. Clear? But it depends on the Lok Sabha may or may not accept these changes. Is it clear? So basically, money bill is only introduced by the Lok Sabha or it only introduced in Lok Sabha. Clear? But if the Rajya Sabha can delay this money bill, so they can delay it by only for 14 days or they can suggest changes in it. But it depends on the Lok Sabha, they may or may not accept these changes. Now, next, the most importantly, the Lok Sabha controls the Council of Ministers. Only a person who enjoys the support of the majority of the members in the Lok Sabha is appointed the Prime Minister. Okay, now if the majority of Lok Sabha members say they have no confidence in the Council of Ministers, so what happened? All ministers, including the Prime Minister, have to quit. And Rajya Sabha, but the Rajya Sabha does not have this power. Clear? So that's why. So that's why we can say that the Lok Sabha is more powerful than the Rajya Sabha. Is it clear? So children, that's it for this part. Next topic, that means about the political executive, the president and the judicial system, we will discuss in the next video. Till then, take care, bye and have a nice day.